Hello and welcome to episode 26 of chapter 1. We're already off topic. 3 women, 1 podcast, and whatever we get distracted by this week. I'm Mary.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Elizabeth.
And this week we are covering the final chapters of Riftborne, and we will be giving our final thoughts, review, and star rating. But first, what are we having tonight?
So I made these blueberry drop scones that, according to my husband, taste like bowberry biscuits without the glaze. I was also informed that you don't ever order a bowberry biscuit without the glaze, so I'm going to have to put a glaze on it later. So I've provided jam to go with them.
It's gonna
We
be
just
delicious.
love when our
I am very
lift us up.
appreciative. Y'all, I am very appreciative. If I didn't have this, it would probably be some like M&Ms or something. So
He was like, I'm gonna get. He said, I'm gonna go to the store and get us some powdered sugar because this will be bomb with some glaze. And I was just like,
That man has been spoiled by you. I'm just gonna put it in perspective for him. He has been spoiled by you.
And I'm over here like, yes, please.
and we have a brown sugar cinnamon Earl Grey.
Delicious.
Yum.
It actually is good. I didn't know what to think about it. I didn't know if I was gonna like it, but it actually is really good.
It's delicious.
So yeah, that's what we got going. What about you?
I had some sourdough discard I needed to use up, so I made get on the team. I made a sourdough pound cake, and then I just put berries and honey and powdered sugar on it because my husband also complained that I didn't have any whipped cream for it. How dare I?
Good. And I love that you have honey on there.
Yeah.
I don't think pound cake needs whipped cream. I think pound cake is naturally kind of sweet.
It is. It was fine on its own. When I tested it earlier, I just ate a sliver of it on its own. It was delicious and didn't need anything. Anyways, I also tried a new concoction. I tried to do a butterbeer chai. I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Well, you've taken multiple sips.
No, it just sometimes I sip it and I'm like, that's not bad. And then other times I'm like, I don't know.
Didn't you say it's like the aftertaste?
Yeah, there's like
Is it
which
distilled?
I've used the butterbeer. It's a butterbeer creamer, and I've used it.
Yeah. I have some.
Yeah, I've used it in my coffee and it's fine. There's
it's
no
really good.
aftertaste. I don't know if it's just how it's mixing with the chai. I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. So, are we ready for Riftborne? The final chapters.
I'm ready.
Final.
I will say, this last set, I'm
Banging.
I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
in now.
Yeah, I'm excited for Duskbound because I super want to know what happens. It left me with a lot of unanswered questions. I'm not sure if it's in a good way or a bad way, but I definitely want to know.
Like, all right, well, choose a shadow wielder.
Which
That's all we got.
We predicted.
And they were talking about how I'm going to tell you what, so far, our predictions are spot on.
I've got so many for the next book.
And
I'm
I'm like,
but
but it tells you how conditioned we've become too, I'm going to be honest. Because I love how, like, once the dark-headed shadow guy comes in, we're like, yep, I'm with it.
100%. He came on, and I don't know if it's just, because we do know. We're like, oh, dark-haired guy with like shadows. That's the one. That's the one right there. But also, just even the few interactions we got with him, I'm like, I feel like we got more out of him than we got out of freaking Lyric the whole book.
I did not like, which I'm never going to get to it, but
Even just
when
like little
she
mannerisms.
finally got with Lyric, I did not appreciate that scene because it was the way it ended, where it was. We got to get to it. I need to look at it is the very last sentence in that chapter where she worded it like he is living out his fantasies, and I was like, "What about your fantasies? What about you?" Yeah, I did not appreciate.
I have
that scene.
I have thoughts on just him in general throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing. Even though that they get together, there's just so many times everything's either preceded with or mentioned after that. Basically, yeah, like we're doing this, but also like you're still a weapon. Like it's still like his number one priority is that he can use her.
It seems like part of his attraction is that.
Right. Like I'm like you don't even like her. You just
She's
want
just
her
a toy
because she's
a
a
shiny new thing.
I did find it interesting that he
It's his
didn't have much of a problem with her approaching Narissa. I thought that he was going to get more upset about that. And he was just like, meh. And I was like, okay, that's your right-hand lady, I guess. And I guess we don't care too awful much.
So we dove in this week into these sets of chapters with leaving off that, Fia had gone. She broke the little blood oath vial so she could talk to Ma, filled Ma in at the apothecary, got those vials where she could breathe, and Ma was going to continue working on that for her. And then she was leaving, and the general was escorting her, except he didn't take her back to the compound like she thought was going to happen. And they start going the opposite direction. So we dive into these new chapters with them on horseback, heading away, hoping we were going to get some answers. And we do. Right away, on that journey, we get Larrick's focus and what his focus is, because we never learned that through the whole of the book so far. And I agree with Elizabeth from last week, because she had read ahead and she was like, I felt like it was underwhelming. And my very first thought was boring. I learned his focus. Also, so it's like a strong perception, but more people oriented, and he can kind of like predict or see what they're going to do.
It's like Asta,
especially in
your
fights.
favorite character. Asta.
Yeah.
Well, even
Especially
he
in
said it
fights
was like
and battles.
Asta.
And so he can kind of predict or foresee what someone's going to do, which is really helpful, like when he's fighting someone or when they're like going into battle. Except it doesn't work on Fia.
It's
And
like he's
like,
Edward Cullen.
I put it in my notes. I was like, it's giving Edward and Bella, like in the worst way.
And I'm like, could he read minds? I was like, how do you like?
And also, so like, again, this opened up, I'm not sure if it's plot holes or if it's just questions or what it ends up being, but like, if it doesn't work on Fia, is it because she's a shadow wielder? And if so, then to me, his whole focus is fucking useless, except when he's training with his own people, because that means he can't use it when he's like fighting the wraiths. It only works with his people.
I didn't even think about that.
And I'm like, so I don't know. Because I'm like, why doesn't it work with Fia? And the only reason I could think is like, she's a freaking weirdo and can wield shadows. So it's like,
she's a freaking weirdo.
Well,
in their world, she's a weirdo. In her new world, she's apparently going to be a princess. At least that's my prediction, because old boy called her princess like 3 times.
Yeah.
I thought he was just
I
thought he was just calling her princess because she was dressed up.
No, I think he's calling her princess because she is the princess of that
think
land.
it's both.
She has that dream. She remembers a name, like Fia and Fiandriel or whatever it is. And so I'm like, yeah, she's 100% some kind of
princess.
She's a princess.
She's a princess.
And they sent her away to protect her.
It might be more of a foreshadowing. You know what I mean? Like, he might not actually know that.
He might not.
Or maybe he does. I don't know.
I don't know.
We didn't get
but I'm
much
like,
of that side.
maybe
it's
it's
like
time when they nickname them princess and it's
like
not
there's
enough.
a lost princess or something, and he doesn't know it's her, but
every time we read a fantasy and they nickname her princess, she ends up being like some kind of royalty. Or my queen. She ends up being like some kind of something.
She's little Rapunzel. I'm telling you, she's the lost princess.
So they end up in this like little horseback ride that they have to wherever they're going. They have some back and forth bonding time. They get to know a little bit more about one another. Larrick reveals he has 0 interest in monogamy, and he only does like casual hookups. He feels like in his position he has too many responsibilities to have like a real relationship and like a commitment. The fact that Fia's still like into this guy after this conversation, I'm like, honey, the bar is in hell. Like, surely not.
He can't be that cute,
Right.
He's not. He would never was in my head. I could never.
I'm just
I was like straight out the gate. I'm like
anyone else.
I'm picturing him as too much of a pretty boy. You know what I mean? Like, no, like, I don't know.
He's
like she said, it's like the
he's
beast
giving
turns
friendly
into a guy.
Like, I don't even
Once
know.
she said that, she screwed me up because I was seeing the mouth of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Of like when the beast turns into a man and his mouth is all weird.
It is so weird. It was the worst animation crossover. I'm like, he was hotter as a freaking.
I'm like, turn him back.
like, go back.
Turn him back. But yeah, I mean, that's what like, give him a beer. Give him something.
He was almost like a bad Tarzan, too, like the way...
Yes! Because, like, Tarzan still looked like, like...
Tarzan could get it.
Right. Wait, what? Anyway, it was just, once she said that about, like, when the beast turns into a guy, that's suddenly, like, that's who he is. And I was like... just with a weirdo scar.
Just and a scar in the hair.
Like, it's...
I don't know why. Immediately, I just got that vibe. Like, I don't like you.
And then can we talk about how, and this is further on, but when, like, you see him and there's, like, the ball or whatever, and, like, he's wearing, like, this, like, tailored suit. Again, I'm like, what time frame is this that you're wearing, like, a tailored suit with like gold accents or whatever? I was like, where are we? What are we doing?
We're in a different realm. You just have to accept it. We're in Italy, obviously.
We're in Italy.
I'm shocked we're on horseback. I'm like, where's the gondoliers now?
So not water on all sides then. No. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Look at this point.
Okay. At the very end, I was like, so they're on Pegasus? Like, I'm very...
In the sky? Is this a kingdom in the sky? And I'm like, well, no worries about them coming to get you, because they don't have any winged creatures.
So they have to stop along on their journey, and they set up camp, and we get the one tent trope where they stay in a tent together. But it's apparently a very large, luxurious tent. And they have separate beds, and nothing happens between them. Except
the dream.
Except Fia has a dream. Lyric, before they go to bed, Lyric tells them they have to get up before they leave, and they're going to practice their sparring because he wants to continue their training even while they're traveling. And so they go to bed. Fia has a dream, except this time it's not her dream. She's in Lyric's dream, and it's Lyric training her in sparring. And then the sparring becomes quite flirty and less sparring and a lot more spicy. And just as he's about to like go down on her, she wakes up. He wakes up. Someone wakes up. They all wake up, I guess.
They're both awake.
They're both awake.
Good morning.
Good morning.
But then we find out this is how her powers have really developed. Like they're manifesting even more than what we already knew. So now she's not only able to control people, but she can get into your dreams.
I think she can just get in your brain, period.
Yeah. Period.
And then she's like, I'm having dreams about other people. All these other dreams, these are other people's dreams.
Can she manipulate the dreams? Can she,
But I'm wondering, since those other guys have pointy ears, I'm like,
she has pointy ears.
She has pointy ears.
They all have pointy ears.
They all have pointy ears.
We just always forget it because they don't mention it again. It's
even the people here have pointy ears?
Yeah, because it talks about her hair going over her pointy ears and...
Is she the only one with pointy ears?
No, they all have pointy ears.
Everybody, not just the Riftborne.
Well,
anyway,
I think
they made a point to mention the dude's pointy ears. That's the only reason why. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, I wonder if there is like a mate situation.
Because why would they have to mark her because they should be able to tell her out by her pointy ears if it's just the Riftborne.
That's a good point. Whatever. Anyway.
They all have pointy ears. I remember Mary being surprised.
I don't know.
We did when we saw we first read it, the fan art.
I was like, specifically,
I was like, yeah, they have pointy ears.
Okay, well, these new shadow people also have pointy ears
because they pointed everybody's face.
And so I'm wondering if there's like a mate situation happening because if she can have, she's having dreams of somebody else, but she's never seen this person. It's just happening. I'm almost wondering if it's almost like, remember how like Reese?
They've never actually said their fae, by the way, so they could be elvish, I guess.
Okay, whatever. Elf mates. Like, anyway, what I'm saying is that remember how Reese in ACOTAR could, like, randomly see Farah, like, before, like, they had the bond or whatever? I'm wondering if this is kind of similar, where she's, like, dreaming, like, her mate's dreams or something. I don't know if that's...
Lyric?
No, her mate! Lyric isn't her mate.
Just because she had the one dream with the dark-haired dude with the tendrils making a dagger?
I'm talking about all of them. Like, do you think that they're her memories from when she was, like, itty-bitty?
We don't know.
Because I'm wondering, because she said in here after that scene where she was like, are all the dreams that I've had someone else's? And so I'm like, what if they were, and it was one person's, and it was like her person's?
I don't think it would have been one person's, because remember she said when she was dreaming about the people drowning, she said she was on
the point
shore,
of view of
and
the guard.
she was dreaming from up
Watching
here,
down.
and I don't think that would have been the guy, because why would the shadowy guy have been there that far away?
But the shadowy guys have been around a lot, and because she's been sensing them moving around.
Well,
I'm assuming that was them, and no one else could see them, but she could. So, like, what if he was there?
Maybe.
Like, I mean, you know, like, what if this has been like a long time coming? And because, like, at the end, he kind of says that they've been like fighting for their freedom for years or whatever, and, like, nobody knows. So, I mean, he could, like, they could have been. I don't know. I'm just saying something about. Either that, or I just wasted a lot of our time. It's fine.
So when Fia wakes up, she asks Lyric, like, point blank, like, were you dreaming about me? And it's then that they both realize that she was in his head.
Well, from the way that he was looking at her, I'm pretty sure it was obvious that he was dreaming about her, because he was looking at her like he wanted to, like, have her for lunch. So, like, or breakfast, I guess, since it was. But, like, it was, you know, it was a heated glance.
So sparring obviously was canceled for that morning, and they end up getting back on the road, continuing on their journey, which then the journey's a little awkward because they don't want to talk about it, and they're sort of avoiding one another until Lyric finally asks, he, like, rides back beside her, and he asks her about her focus, and he seems kind of excited that it's, like, changing and manifesting in all these different ways. And again, I get creepy vibes because I'm like, all this man is thinking of is all the ways he can use her. And, like, he's not looking at her as a person. He's just looking at her for, like, her power and what it is. But that's just me. Other girlies might love him. So Lyric is asking her about the focus, how it's changing, how it's manifesting. And Fia, of course, for once kind of sees, she's, like, disappointed that he's not they're not talking about the dream and his feelings for her, and he's just wanting, his only interest seems to be in her powers. And so then they reach the border city. The general goes to leave. He's got meetings, and he's got to meet with the king, and he's got, like, briefings from the military, and he's like, go to your room, basically. And Fia's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, why did you bring me here? And the general's basically just like, stay out of the way and stay out of trouble. And I was like, you know what? Rude. But
also, like, again, like, I'm kind of with Fia. Like, why did you bring her then? She was set to do this. Like, she was set to do these other things. I mean, like, just let her do the other things. Why,
So Fia's starting to feel useless again. She goes to her room. Later, it's actually a Riftborne. Another Riftborne comes and gets her to come to the dining hall to eat. And she gets a little hint of joy because he tells her what an inspiration, like, she's surprised he knows who she is. And apparently she's been, like, a huge inspiration to all these other Riftborne because she joined the guard and they really look up to her. And so, like, that was like a little shining light for her while she was there.
That for her to have, something for her.
Meanwhile, in the dining hall, she sees Lyric with, lo and behold, blood clot herself, Nerissa. And so she's jealous, bored, and irritated. And Fia decides to start drinking and then go into town and find a distraction, particularly of the male variety. And I don't know about y'all, but I know I make my best decisions when I combine all of those attributes together.
I felt like it was a little out of character.
It was very out of character for her because all along through this whole book, she's been worried about things being dangerous and putting yourself in a bad, dangerous position and not wanting to go out, not wanting to do these things. And I'm not sure if we're just really breaking character with her for the plot, or if we're trying to show how much of a bad influence her feelings for Lyric are, because later we also get way more of this weird shift in her where I'm like, that's not Fia like that's not something Fia would have done.
Yeah. I feel like
And not in a good way. Like, not a character growth in the positive direction, a character growth in the negative direction.
Yeah,
I'm
like in when she did that, I was like, in no universe like this. Now Asta,
Asta, 100% I could see doing this. And I would, and it would have been fine for her character. And honestly, I would have cheered her on. I would have been like, get it, girl, make him jealous. This wasn't a Fia. Like, I didn't love this, even though, like, usually I'd be like, heck yeah. But I didn't love this for Fia's character because it made no sense for her.
Yeah, it was a leap. It was an odd choice.
So she goes down into like the square, and there's like some bars, I guess, or some drinking happening. She goes and starts hanging out with some other guard people, I guess, and like immediately is flirting with some guy, and drinking. And the general shows up while she's just flirting shamelessly with this guy at the bar, and he pulls kind of his rank and scares everybody there and sends everybody home, but has Fia follow him back to his quarters, where he then chastises her for being irresponsible, and she argues back that she just wanted to feel something. The general then shows his own jealousy, asking if she was going to sleep with the guy at the bar, the one that was touching her, and she basically says that she would have, and he flies off the handle saying that he wanted to hurt the guy just for touching her. They actually don't talk much at all about their feelings, like not at all, or any of the implications behind that. They just are suddenly then kissing. And then Lyric's growling, "You're mine," which is usually really hot in a book. And I didn't hate it. I just also, like, I didn't really believe him. There was no yearning. Where was my yearning? I never saw him yearn for her.
Well, he was just like, he made it out. He was like, I find it unbearable to be away from you and stuff like that. And I'm like, since when? Like,
right.
Yeah.
We never got to see this on page. We're just being told this. And so I'm like, do I believe you?
Yeah, like you had that one moment that like Baylor was like privy to or whatever. And like that's literally the only other time that he seemed to kind of, that you seemed to tell that something was like there, I guess. It seemed more like it was one-sided on her end, like she was attracted to him. Mm-hmm. And like now all of a sudden he's like, oh, I've wanted you this whole time, ever since I met you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
since when? Because like typically you might see some like push and pull where like something starts to happen and then they push them away, it starts to happen. You even saw it like, and this is an extreme version if I bring up Alchemized, because like Alchemized 10-star freaking book, so like it's hard to compare. But like you see that with them in all phases, even when she doesn't have her memories. Like, you see these little tiny tells that he cares, even when he's treating her horribly. I never got that from Lyric. But, like, you never get any of these hints that he cares at all.
He just seems like he's just a, like, frat bro.
And I found the sentence at the end of chapter 45, but they're doing their thing. But, you know, it's the way it was written. Like, normally you would read something like this and be like, that's hot. But then you read this and you're like, that's using.
Oh, last sentence.
The last sentence of that chapter, they're talking about the rhythm, right? And she's like, this is, again and again, a rhythm that went on for hours as he made his dreams into reality. And I'm like,
what about your dreams, girl?
Yeah, what about your dreams? What about your...
What's happening for you?
Yeah. And if you read the whole thing, it turned into like a, you know, so I don't know.
She deserves better.
Agreed. %.
She's self-sacrificing enough to where that probably made her happy in the moment, to think that because of her, like his dreams were reality or whatever. But I think like once she starts to realize her worth in the situation, I think she'll realize that that's...
I 100% hope I get to throw hands with Lyric in book 2. I want him to be the bad guy, just because I hate him at this point. Like, I don't like him. I do not enjoy him.
I don't like him, but I also don't think he's the big bad. I think that because of some of the conversations that he's had with her about how I don't want to question my leadership, but I remember hitting something solid. Like you can, it's almost like I actually don't know if he knows the extent of, like, I do feel like he probably genuinely believes that he's in the right, like he's on the right side. But I don't think that once he realizes that he's not, that he'll switch. Like, I don't think he'll be like, oh, let me jump the fence. I think he'll still stick on. I'm saying in this moment.
You think the big bad is like the king and queen, and the people are just following along?
Probably like that. Something similar. Or the Solels.
I don't
The
necessarily.
Solels.
Yeah.
That interaction with the Lord and Lady, that was weird to me. That was really weird with me. When she said that they exchanged a glance that she couldn't read, and then he was like, then he said, I'm happy to have you on our side, or something like that to her.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems weird. Like, I was like,
I thought it was weird that they moved Asta into the house and stuff too. So maybe that'll come into play in the second book. So Lyric does say he's basically been holding back from her because she wasn't going to be a one night stand or a casual fling, that she's more important. And again, it feels like, why is she important? Is she important because you love her? Is she important because she's important because you can use her and she's powerful?
I feel like she's thinking of these.
I just needed more from him. We do get our.
She's thinking the same thing. She doesn't know.
Yeah, so we do get our spicy time between the two of them. I'm glad it did wait till when it did in the story and it wasn't rushed.
Yeah.
But there was no. It was a good spicy scenes, but it was just like, I felt like there was not enough buildup of tension between the two of them. And so I don't know. I'm still just struggling with those two together. Period.
I could have just left it, honestly.
I could have. I enjoyed the scene, but as far as the characters of the two of them, I'm just like, whatever. It could have been between two completely random characters. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I'd be like, cool.
I felt, I don't know. I felt like it was very one-sided.
So after Fia asks again why she's there, and Lyric says he wanted more time to see what she's capable of, and also that he has trouble being away from her. I thought it was suspicious that his first reason was her power. And then the second reason was, oh, by the way, I also kind of like.
We're just slide it in.
Like, it should have been the other way. Like, I just can't be away from you. Also, I will admit, it is good to have you around because of this other thing. But primarily, it's because I like you, girl.
I love you.
And and this is a prime example, and this is where my notes came in of I really wanted this to be swoon-worthy between the two of them. I wanted to finally buy into the relationship with Lyric. And I don't know if the writing of this between the two of them is purposeful and for us as a reader to keep him at arm's length because of what happens in the second book. I don't know, because I don't know what happens in the second book. And it's just preparing us for that, to keep a distance there. But honestly, and maybe I'm just a little emotionally screwed up, because I would much rather be fully bought in and be like, oh my God, Lyric. And then just be emotionally destroyed if something happens in book 2 where he betrays her and becomes the bad guy or whatever. Because I want you to rip my heart out and maybe punch it a few times. That's okay for me. I'd much rather have that. Let me feel a little pain.
I felt because even in the Wolf King, we loved, oh crap, what's
Callum?
his name? Not Blake.
Callum.
Gosh.
And Callum was a little pretty boy. He's not even going.
But you still bought into him. If he straight up betrays her, my soul will be crushed. Because as much as I don't want them together, I don't want anything bad for him either, or anything bad to happen between them. So if he betrays her, it's gonna suck. But I also want that. I want to feel all of the feelings.
I mean, she felt betrayed when everyone made her kiss Blake. But
it's not like DireBound. DireBound,
you kind of got
he was the bad guy, the bad guy.
He was twist.
But with Callum,
we all kind of got the ick from him right off. But you at least had enough buy-in. He had all these things where it looked like he might still be the good guy, even though there was enough hints there that you're I think he's not the good guy.
Right.
I felt with Callum though, I felt I still like him. I felt it was one of those things where I liked him. I felt his feelings were genuine. I felt like he really wanted what's best for her. It just so happened that this guy's better.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm still seeing people all the time, even after the Night Prince, saying that they're Team Callum. So, like, people are still very much like...
Yeah, and with
that's going to be what I choose.
With Lyric, it's just like...
I don't want it to be. I am all in on Blake.
I'm really going to be disappointed if it ends up being a why choose. I'm going to be so
going to be like,
upset.
I can't choose. You know, the whole Edward and Jacob thing. She's just going to be like, it's going to be both. Like,
I cannot. I will be so upset because I have loved that series. And if it turns into a why choose, I'm going to be like, I choose
how are you
to
gonna
not
feel
read this
if she
anymore.
winds up with Callum? How are you going to feel?
She's not going to wind up with Callum.
But how are you going to feel?
She's going to be with Blake.
There's literally no way she's going to wind up with Callum. There's
she's
literally
100% with
I'm waiting.
She's 100% with Blake. They've got a bond. You don't have a bond.
Break the formula. Go against the formula. That's what I want. I want an author to go against the formula.
Well, you know who did that? And Stephanie Meyer, in my opinion, because Jacob should have been the one. Okay? You had the first guy, then you had the second guy, and instead of her keeping with the second guy, she makes it back to the first guy.
I feel like Sarah J. Maas broke the formula because Stephanie...
At least they're not doing... I don't know if you guys... Well, I mean, you're old enough to have read her, but I don't know if you ever read her Janet Ivanovich's whole series. It's like, I don't know, she's on like book 5,000 now. And you know what? It's the same love triangle between the same characters. How she's drug that out. I picked up like her latest one.
She's a watch.
I don't know, like last year or something. And I was like, okay, what ended up happening? Which one did she get with? You know, she was still trying to choose. And I'm just like,
she's not.
How are you dragging out this long?
She's using them both. She's like, you know what? I'm just not going to.
It's literally, I'm telling you, that for one, it's going to be Blake. It's just going to be Blake. They just have more of a vibe. But I do like Callum, and I want good things for Callum, and I hope that Callum finds...
Spoiler alert for Wolf King and Night Prince if you haven't read them.
Yeah. Sorry, we already covered those.
Yeah. So you go
I'm
back.
Sorry.
Watch it or
Keep
listen.
up. Watch those episodes.
You said keep
the books, watch the episode.
We're moving on. I'm sorry. Anyway.
If you're new, we apologize.
You should go read that book and watch that. We really like Callum. And I mean, I was thinking that he was her mate there for a bit. You know, with Lyric, I'm like, there's just nothing special about him. Like, he's okay. He seems to at least be loyal to his cause. like he's just like a frat boy guy. I don't know. He's just a guy.
So Lyric does explain the scar came from the Wraiths when he was battling the Wraiths. And he thinks that it was a dagger. And he mentions that he thought at one point while he was battling the Wraiths that while he was fighting in the darkness, he felt something solid, which they've always assumed it's just like these shadowy, inky things is how they keep describing him. And so that would imply that there's something like a person there, like a solid thing. And Sophia starts to think that there's more to just like the shadows than the shadows. And again, that's going to cycle back to like she thinks how she can use her power to stop them, which Lyric then tells her that he's hoping that with Fia's powers that she can use them to capture a wraith so they can figure out how best to stop them. Sophia is mentally like you're in her head a bit, and she's falling for the general, and sort of, in my opinion, dangerously so, and very out of character of Fia so, because she admits in her mind that she would basically do anything he asked. She would raise armies. She would just, if he asked it of her, she's gonna do it.
She would shred mines or whatever.
Burn the world for him.
Yeah,
right.
Very
but not in a. To me, it was like not in a "I'll burn the world for you" way. Like, it was, I don't know, it felt very much like she would become the villain for him. And I don't feel like Fia's personality type is the villain. Mm-mm. Like, Fia wants to do the right thing.
I think in a way this was put in so that in the next book, she's really having to fight the idea that what she's been told is wrong.
Possibly,
know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of that, like, oh, I'm just so in it now because of Lyric.
Well, and when you really look at her past and her upbringing and everything else, Like the fact that over this one very mediocre man, let's be honest, she's willing to
It also kind of is sad because it kind of shows like how much like she really just wants to be loved too. I feel like that's also kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like, because
honestly, I was a little disappointed in that portion of the character. Like, yeah, fall for a man. Good for you, girl. But like, also,
does it have to be that man? Does it have to be?
Well, and she's giving up so much of herself and like who she actually is.
Also, she's never struck me. Like, there's one thing, we all have, like, quiet jealousy, right? Like, we always have, like all of us have that thing. Like, I'll never forget this. Here's, like, an example. I remember when I first started working with my husband. Like, this was way back when. Like, when I was working where my husband works. It was, like, my first day or my second day. I can't remember. And he was at the nurse's station. And he was showing a video. No. One of the nurses was showing him a video. And she was standing close to him in a way that I was like, and he seemed to be, because she was like this, and he was kind of like, he didn't have his arm on her, it wasn't anything like that, but he had his arm on the thing. It was in a way where he was almost,
Catherine's like over there just like,
I don't want to say he was like enveloping her, but because I mean, to her credit, she's just tiny. She was tiny, so like there was nothing really untoward happening. But in my mind, I was just like,
you were like, back off, my husband.
Right. Obviously, I never said that to her or my, like, I was never like, I never went up and was just like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, I just was like, whatever, like, she's showing him a video.
You were giving her the devil eyes.
It turns out that, like, she was showing him, like, she had, like, popped some pimple on a resident or something like that and apparently got a video of it. But, like,
sexy.
Like, it was nothing. It was really nothing.
They gathered around for that.
But, like, you know how, like,
your husband out of the way, be like, I want to see it.
But, like, we all have that quiet thing where you see someone and they give your husband a certain smile or they do something, or you see him say something and you're like, wait, what's that about? Like, we all kind of have that just because we're in love, right? Like things just, like, sometimes you're just like, that's mine. But you never say anything because you're not, like, outwardly jealous. Sometimes you just have those little, like, pangs where you're like, what? And, like, we all
Catherine's
have that.
Like, I'm not going to say anything in the moment. But when book club comes around.
But, like, you have those. But, like, that doesn't mean that you, like, are going to walk up to this person and be like, fancy meeting you here, like the way that she did. Because Fia doesn't strike me as the kind of person that's like, I'm going to, like, straight up go up to this girl and be like, what of it, blood clot? Like, that's literally what she did. And I'm like, when have you been this person? I don't know. Anyway, that was my point. That was a lot.
So, of course, there's another ball coming up. Because, what does this world need? More balls. General?
Especially in war times. Like,
we were like, you know what? The rates are really coming down hard. We really need a party.
Fia questioned that. She was like, why?
They're just like, you know what?
The king is coming. We must make haste with our dancing.
Balls
be all dress up. And invite him in.
So the general brought some gowns, like apparently several, for Fia.
A chest full.
To pick from and wear, which I'm like, that's feeling very premeditated you were going to take her. Because at first, I was like, when they left the apothecary, I'm like, oh, he's just decided, screw it. You left, you can come with me now. Like, this is where we're going. But now I'm like, this is feeling very premeditated. Like, this man had a plan.
Also, he really doesn't trust her outfit choices.
He does not.
And I'm like, okay. Like, because that's a little controlling, too. No way. Like, granted, he gave her options. He didn't just give her one dress. And don't get me wrong, sometimes, like, it's cute when they're like, I got this for you, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, he's very consistently been getting her outfits. Like, this isn't like a one-off situation. He's like, I am now your dresser. I will tell you what you
But she clearly needed help. The first time they met.
I mean, she didn't care. She didn't care.
And he knows.
But, to be fair, she wasn't supposed to even be at that party. Granted, he didn't know that. But still.
Narissa wasn't either.
Which one?
No, I'm talking about the first one. When
she's talking about the first one.
With Jordan and Becca.
Yeah. I was thinking about the second one. Yeah.
With a K.
Becca.
Because that makes it fantasy.
Sophia ends up dreaming that night about some wraiths attacking. And she recognizes like a spire of a tower of like a crumbling building. So she wakes up kind of in a panic and she tells the general that she feels like that she had this dream and she thinks the Wraiths are attacking Stormshire and they need to like leave now and go and help. Lyric has someone go like check, and apparently there have been no disturbances at the border, and he is like, maybe it's like a memory dream or like a, you know, he's just like, you know, nothing's happening. So like, I don't know what to tell you. So they go on about, you know, their day. She wakes up the next morning. The general's gone to do his day. She goes to leave the general's quarters because she spent the night with him. And she hears Nerissa outside of her room talking to someone else. So Bloodclot is out there just saying that, like, she's talking about Fia and about how, like, she feels bad for Fia because she doesn't say Fia's name, but it's implied. She's like, I just feel bad for this girl because she doesn't realize she's just a conquest. I don't know why Nerissa suddenly has a southern accent, but she does.
Yeah, I'm going to be really surprised actually at this. I think it would actually be a really big shock for me from the authors if Nerissa turned out to be like
good.
You know, like especially
I don't necessarily know that. I mean, she could end up being like the worst, like actually awful, but at least here in a moment we're going to get a hint of why she is the way she is. And I think if you got like the whole book from Nerissa's point of view, you would probably be Team Nerissa.
Well, when she's
in Nerissa's mind frame, because it sounds like her parents were killed by Riftmore people, and that's why she holds this like hate for Riftmore. It'd be the same as like, you know, Fia hating. She originally didn't trust and hated the guard because of what happened to her friends and her family.
Yes, but it's an interesting, like, I don't know, because see, like, then Fia takes that as just her being, like, a bigot, which I don't necessarily feel like was probably bigotry, as more of, or I don't know, it could have been. I really don't know. Like, I can't really get a number on Nerissa, because I'm like,
I mean, you don't get enough of her to really know. I just know that, like,
there's just, like, little notes of, like, you know, there was a look of sadness before, you know, like there's all these like little like things that show that she's like feeling more than just being hateful. And so I'm like, I don't know, there's probably more to her, but we're not really getting enough to really tell that. So I don't know, maybe she'll show up in
and I can't get a read. Like, I still am not 100% sure, because even like Fia says, Nerissa obviously thinks you guys are together, and I kind of get that vibe too. Nerissa truly believes that her and the general are together.
I mean, they were holding hands.
Whether or not she believes it's like serious or not, like, and she's just more upset that he's also sleeping with her because she is Riftborne, and she wouldn't care if it was just anybody else, or if she would be jealous of any girl that he was also sleeping with, and she just happens to also be Riftborne, which she hates. So like, I don't know, it's because you don't get enough of her. There's just
genuinely, it could just be that he's like crappy, and it
could be because again, we're not even getting enough of him, and I feel like he very much could be like stringing Nerissa along, and being manipulative with her as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
because like behind the the bedroom talk with her could be like, oh, you're so special, blah 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 blah, because it's her. That's apparently like one of his like second or third in command.
Yeah.
And so like I could see him at least at some point in their relationship building her up to feel like she's more important to him than she actually is to him in his mind.
I can't tell if he's just like a whatever character or if he just like actually is just like the worst. Like there are some moments where I'm like, well, that was crappy. But then he'll do something else and I'm like, I don't know, maybe you're just dumb. Like, and then, so I'm like, are you like actually mean or are you stupid? Like, I don't know. Like,
well, I told you guys I tried to keep that scorecard for him, but he couldn't keep a point on the board. And I finally just threw the mental little scorecard away. I gave up. I was like, I don't even know anymore. You're at like -4.
It's weird with him. I don't know. Anyway.
So the next, he overhears Nerissa outside her door, And then she waits for them to leave, and then while she's waiting for them to leave, she sees a shadow in the room, like out of the corner of her eye. But when she turns to look, it disappears and she doesn't see it anymore. So she just like chalks it up to like, she's tired, whatever. But obviously there's more to it. There's like a shadow in that room. And I'm not sure why it's in that room. I don't know if it's stalking her and they know what she is, or if it just happens to be in there, if they were looking for I don't know.
Because
you don't get an answer to that question, folks. You don't get any sort of answer to that. So back in her room, when she gets back to her room, she finds Asta, who's there. She's in town for the ball as well. She came with Lady Salil, and it was helping her. So she ends up staying to help Fia pick out her ball gown of the selection that the general left for her. Fia, of course, being the Fia that we know, is worried for Asta being there because she's closer to the border. It's more dangerous the closer you get to the border. And she's like, doesn't want her to be there because it could be dangerous. And of course, Asta just laughs it off. And she's like, everything's fine. I'm with my people.
They told me I don't need to worry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
And honestly, at this point, if I was Asta, I probably wouldn't either. She's got a solid gig, it seems like, for her. Like,
very cushy.
Yeah.
Gets what she wants to do.
I'd be like, don't worry, girl. Look,
We're good.
I'm with the rich folks. We're
She
good.
likes everything I put her in.
Right. So another attendant comes to do her makeup for her that the general had arranged. And she comments about her dark circles around her eyes, like how dark they are. And I only mention that because it ends up coming up later. Because at first I was like, listen, we all love an iron deficient girly. It's fine. Whatever. And then like later I'm like,
When they bring it up, I'm like, gosh, how dark are they? Because I'm like, geez Louise.
well, it makes sense later
about
because
me?
you
I
don't.
am perpetually tired.
I thought she was just mentioning it because she hadn't seen it before because it's an attendant that she's never met. It's
Yeah.
like so I didn't realize they were actually getting darker.
They were getting darker.
Yeah. And I was like, that probably would have been good to know, but whatever.
I'm over here like, is it going to be like Beetlejuice after a while? It's probably not the one to.
So at the ball, she chats with Asta and Lady Salil, which is where you kind of I didn't clock the weirdness a little bit. I thought it was weird that they were like so interested in her. I thought that was
that she said
odd,
that they exchanged a glance that she couldn't get a read on. When
now
Asta
that you
was
say
trying
it, I do remember that. I think I glossed over it in my readings of it, though. I was just like,
And-
meh.
And then he like looks at her and he's like, my apologies. And he was like, great to have you on our side.
I
Or
do
something.
remember that.
Yeah,
And
and
I
like-
just assumed that because the general seems to be quite blabby about her because the king and the queen knew about her. So I was assuming that meant more like the general's just like, hey, I got us a secret weapon. We're going to catch us some wraiths,
We're going to go wraith hunting.
There's where that southern accent came from. That's why Marissa talks the way she does.
We're going to catch us some wraith.
We're going to do it. And boys.
But it was just like the way that interaction was just a little off to me. And then if you compound that with the fact that Asta is like living with them and going everywhere with them, it's just like it just and then Asta just so happens to be Fia's sister. Or not sister, but sister? Friend? Friend.
Well, kind of sister.
Well,
the whole...
sister friend.
They
And
grew up together because they were orphans together.
right. And they claim each other as family, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
They just so happen to be, you know what I mean? It just feels a little, and they just happen to be estranged. They keep bringing up how they're estranged from the brother or whatever. But I'm over here like, it just seems a little fishy. The whole thing with them just seems a little fishy. I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's less with the king and queen and more about the Solils. I don't know. So
It could be,
Solils.
yeah. Because like I said, when we first
You
met
really
the
see
king
a
and
whole lot
queen,
from them.
yeah, when we first met the king and queen, I did not hate them. Like, they did not come off as the big bad. Now, granted, that could just be like a red herring of like, look, they seem like chill people, right? Right.
Let me tell you how unchill they are.
Yeah. And then in book 2, they're like, oh, by the way, they're the worst.
They love each other.
While
They
they
hate everyone else. But I feel like, honestly, there's been so much talk about the Solil family that
Yeah, they've
I'm
gotta
wondering
be.
if maybe they're kind of maybe the king and queen are almost like a front. And the real, leaders. are them. I mean, I don't know.
They're calling the shots behind the king and queen's back. Like, they have, like, their own little...
Because I will remember when Baylor was, like, in the mix, he seemed very unconcerned with
anything that was happening.
Or anyone.
Even when he got demoted, he was like, it was like more of a pride thing, but like he did not seem concerned for his own place in the world.
Right. So like it just makes you wonder how big of a pull they actually have. So I don't know. It's just something for me to think about as we move on to the next book.
So while at the ball, Fia's of course looking for Lyric, who she can't find, but then he sneaks up behind her and ends up taking her for a spin on the dance floor, and then leaves her at the table saying he has something to take care of. And when Fia sees him next, he's with Narissa. So she decides to confront them, which again, I was with you. Very un-Fia-like. I'm like, that's
very
not something she would have done.
She would have been like, I hate that. I always see them together. That hurts my feelings. I'm jealous. And then she would have just sat there and ate her little prime rib or whatever they were serving. And you know what I mean? Like, that's just more of what she is. And she might clock it later because she has yet to even bring up to him that Narissa bothers her, really. I mean, she thinks she's brought it up like once. And he was like, we're not together. Like, it was a very out of the way thing. And like now all of a sudden she's like, I'm going to approach.
I'm going to get in there.
Like, I don't know. And she hadn't even had anything to drink. Well, no, she did. She did down something. Maybe she's just not good with alcohol.
Maybe. So she starts to head that way, but on the way, she runs into a woman she describes as the most beautiful she has ever seen and almost otherworldly, and that her hair and her clothes were not styled in something you would find in Luminaria. So immediately I'm like, well, that's a wraith.
Nudge, nudge, yeah.
Did you say like a big raven on her or whatever? Which is interesting because they live in like Raven something.
Yeah. Ravenfell, I think.
So obvious.
So more importantly, that she also has the dark circles around her eyes, like Fia has. And so I was like, oh, that's what you
I also
Fia.
love
Fia's
how...
like, Mommy.
I also love that Fia sees her and she's just like, what was it? What's that thing with Dwight? And he's like, one crisis at a time. We're like, one of her. He was just like, I'll have to just come back to that. I gotta focus on this.
Deal with my general who's over here hitting on his homegirl.
You're like, you look so interesting to me and we have similar features and I really want to dive into that. But first, let me go tell off Blood Clot because she's harboring it on my man.
She's got her priorities. You know, they're not in the right order, but...
So she goes up to Blood Clot.
So she goes up to Blood Clot. She introduces herself formally to Narissa, and Lyric tries to send her away since she basically interrupted him reprimanding Narissa for disobeying his direct orders, which was she's supposed to be with the other members of their group to Stormshire. And it's revealed in the argument that Narissa seems to hate Riftborne because of what they did to her family. Because she's like, you're sleeping with her and you didn't think about how that would make me feel. And at first, when I first read that until I got the second half of that sentence, I was like, she's in love with you. And then I was like, oh no, she just hates the Riftborne.
Yeah.
And then Fia clocks that and is just like, oh,
Okay.
you're a bigot.
So they say some words. I think Narissa calls her a whore. You know, whatever.
And I'm like, would you have called her a whore had it been another girl that wasn't Riftborne? Or would they have been a whore?
We don't know.
Well, it's like, were you a whore when you did it? Just saying, she did the same thing.
So Fia and the general leave because the general basically tells her to like go to. He does what he does to Fia. He's like, go to your room. Honestly, I think the general's just shitty with women. Like, not.
That's fair. I'd probably agree with that, honestly.
So he's like, go to your room, and then you're going back to Stormshire in the morning. In the meanwhile,
She was like, I'm supposed to go tonight? And I'm like, well, you're not even supposed to be here tonight.
The king and queen, they go back to the table. The king and queen arrive. The king gives some kind of like little pep speech about their facing their like biggest battle yet, or their biggest, I don't even remember. And about that they're not going to succumb to the darkness. No pun intended. And immediately after, the doors open and all the candles go out and they're kind of plunged into this darkness. And Fia realizes that in her dream, the wraiths were coming there.
She's like, I did not consider that possibility.
Yeah. She's like, well, crap.
Oops.
So Lyric, and like the one cool thing he does in the entire book, rips her skirts off so she can like stand a chance.
I was like, you do care. Look at you. That's like the first thing he does.
Yeah. Fia looks for Asta to make sure that she's safe, because that actually stays in line with her character. And she sees her leaving with Lady Salil, so she's like, cool, she's safe. I can worry about fighting these wraiths. She gives the general one of those tonics that Ma gave her, and she takes one for herself.
Which I think was probably not a smart thing, because that might come up later.
Oh, it definitely is. It's gonna come up later.
Do you know what I mean? Because
he's gonna get a Ma.
Because she's now on, she's at the end of the book, she's on the wraith. Like, I mean, she's not on the wraith side yet, but she's on the wraith side, which
that's gonna
she's
come back.
So that's gonna end up coming back to haunt her ass. Yeah.
That's gonna be unfortunate.
But well, I don't know. Ma was very Team Fia, so maybe.
But if they convince her that she has to make a lot of them so they can get Fia back, like
like a rescue mission situation. Yeah, I don't know. So many ways this could go. It's an exciting lead up to what could be. But pretty quickly in this battle, Fia and Lyric get separated, and everything is just like plunged into like complete darkness. And they're attacked by the wraiths. She's able to hit a wraith with her dagger and get away, is racing to find Lyric. It's very fast paced, this whole scene. After several like small battles with the wraiths, suddenly they make this weird vortex, which I should also say, Fia can see Lyric. Like, she spots him up on a hill, which apparently she's not supposed to be able to do. But they make this, I sort of could picture it, but also I couldn't. I was just winging it in my brain.
I'm sorry I'm hearing all this grunting. It's Misty, not one of us. It's Misty up here, and she's
literally right here.
And Misty, what are your thoughts?
She's just been up here while you've been talking, like her little like happy grunts that she does, and I'm like, people that are listening are gonna be like, wait, yeah, I had a trouble with the vortex too. I was kind of picturing like a tornado.
I did. I was like thinking,
I'm like, she's in the funnel.
So then all of those like shadows, wraith things go up in this like vortex, and then they just like disappear, right? And she was like, oh, cool, like it's over. So Lyric finds
easy.
Yeah. Lyric finds Fia and asks when she got there. She realizes that he couldn't see anything, and he realizes that she could see him. And he does seem to kind of like chalk it up to her power, like being able to see his mind, but he's like, you could see me? And then he kisses her because, perfect timing for that. You're not in the middle of this like great big battle, and it's not dangerous or anything, but whatever.
Yeah. He's like, when did you get here?
And then a scream like erupts, and they, quit freaking making out in the middle of the battlefield. And she realizes it's Asta, and that the wraiths they didn't leave. They went, and they're using all the people who were running away from the ball and are using them as like these human shields or Fae shields or Elvis shields, whatever the hell they are. We're not even sure. But
these human-like shields.
Fia
that
runs
may or may not have
warm body shields.
But they're supposed to have pointy ears. Do
Fia,
they
of course,
all have pointy ears?
I think that's what the consensus we have come to.
They all have pointy ears.
That we have a Planet Fitness. We have gondoliers in striped shirts singing random Italian songs as they whisk you away.
Modern day
dresses. Ancient day travel. Pirate battle outfits.
Pirate shirts, yeah. Leggings. Remember the
Lululemon workout gear.
Lululemon.
Okay, I just said, does everyone in Riftborne have pointy ears? No, that's not the wrong.
Watch Riftborne be like a place, or like another place in another book.
So Sophia ends up running to help, because, that's what she's going to do. The inky shadows, like, again, this one I was like, not super clear. It sounded like she tried to use her power, but then she ended up sucking in all the shadows into her own body, is how it sort of sounded like it was being described. Honestly, I don't even know anymore. And then the darkness was gone because it went into her body, and she felt like it was ripping her apart from the inside. And then suddenly
I had a hard time with that part. I had a hard time visualizing it or understanding really what was happening. I knew
Yes.
she was she up in the air? Did it?
Yes, I think
She
so.
was-
And again, I think it was in my mind, I was envisioning like what she did in the forest, where she like kind of like went up and had her arms out, probably her eyes doing their weird X-Men thing. And then, but instead of like the tendrils going out, she like ends up sucking all the darkness
In.
in. And then she's like holding it in. She's like describing how it's like tearing her apart and it feels like all this power and energy inside of her and it's like ripping at her. And then all of a sudden it like erupts back out of her and she descends everything into darkness, except now it's her darkness. And then afterwards, like once it's gone, it's like out and it seems like everybody can see everything again, because then she's describing seeing Lyric up on the hill, but he's not going to her and she's like begging for help because the wraiths are now like surrounding her.
He's like
He, like-
looking at her in horror.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind
And
of
then he like
disgusting.
takes a step towards her, but then like stops. And
Asta's over there being like, no. She's like, Fia, no.
and so then the wraiths surround her and end up like whisking her away in the sky. I'm thinking
Yes, in the sky.
all I could think of is, you know, like if you're like at a big concert, like a rock concert where they crowd surf, except she's like in the air crowd surfing underneath all of these
On
ships.
top of the tornado.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, I was reading it and I was like, is it because I'm trying to finish this before the podcast? Am I just not able to receive this the way that, like, I was like, or is this actually?
Girl, I've read it 3 times now because I read it really fast, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go back and read a few of these parts slower that were like really action packed, and I was just like reading so fast that honestly I'm not 100% sure what I was reading. So I was like, I'm gonna go back and read those, and then I read it again today when I was doing the recap, and I was like, every time I'm like,
And then where did? and then the winged creatures. When did those come into play?
those come in later, so we'll get to those.
It's okay, it's a new world.
So she's, again, kind of like floating in the sky, I guess, as they whisk her away. Fia is like blacks out. She wakes up. A man and a woman are arguing about why they took her. The woman's arguing basically anti-taking Fia, and the guy is like that he describes her as being bound to the dusk, and so like she belongs with them. And when she wakes again, they're apparently using magic to keep her under and are taking her somewhere called Ravenfell. She is to ride with, they're like, you know, basically asking who wants to take her on the horses. And a male says he's going to take her. She hears this male voice, which, I mean, that's going to be our male interest in the next book. I'm like, that's the love it. That's the real one.
It's
So she wakes again and they're flying on like the horses. And she describes these big wings that the horses have.
Bat-like
So I'm
wings,
picturing
but
like a
it's a horse.
Pegasus situation now at this point.
Yeah, but like
And I think,
gothic Pegasus.
hang on one second. They got wings.
There it is. She does.
We were over here like she's going in the
She's got it.
secretary.
She's
It's a book.
going in the
I think it's
secretary.
Duskbound.
It is. So yeah, I'm guessing it's these things. That's what she's riding on. If you were like wondering, he's like that through the sky. So
Have you guys ever seen the episode of Friends where Monica is like doing, she's singing Delta Dawn at the karaoke or whatever, and she's like, that mansion in the sky. Like when they show up and it's like there's this big situation, I'm like reading it and I'm like, that mansion in the sky. Sorry. That was what I'm picturing when they arrive to this mansion that may or may not be in the sky. I don't know. I was like, are we in the clouds?
I don't know, but
It's
I doubt
above
that
the
they have
clouds.
gondolas.
Probs not.
losers.
I was like, is this a suspended kingdom? Or are the buildings just tall?
Sophia, like, they keep knocking her out with their magic. Fia ends up dreaming about all these different shadows and feeling like she'd been in this place before. And there's like these voices talking to her. And she keeps hearing this name, Fiandriel, which, I mean, it doesn't take a real genius to put together Fia and Fiandriel. They're probably her.
Do you know what? I did not make that connection. Like, it was when you said it on here, and you were like, obviously. And I was like, obviously.
Like, obviously.
I picked up on that right away. Of course. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
now it makes sense.
Now you're putting it together. Okay.
Cracking the code.
You got children.
I was like, Fiandriel, who's that? I guess we're gonna find out.
Okay. So the voices in the echo keep saying that they've been waiting for her and like waiting for her to find them or something to that effect. So again, fairly easy to put together, possibly, depending.
Oh my God,
Fairly easy to put together that.
Well, because they were over here a minute ago being like, if she does something, I'm gonna slit her throat myself or whatever. And I'm just like, if they're waiting for her, why are they trying to kill her? Like, you know, that was my thoughts. But, you know, who am I? Anyway, did you get that Fiandriel was Fia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fia.
It's not a big jump.
Yeah.
The way she said it, like, yeah, duh, obviously.
Yeah.
You must be an idiot to not get that.
It's almost like, you know, that the fact that
It's almost like
at
that's
the Blackbird Cafe, they were also the cat and the bird. The magic and the magical realism.
Did you really not get that?
The cat and the bird, it's the Fiandriel part, because you know I didn't get the cat and the bird. Different book, by the way, if any of you are wondering, like, where's the cat and the bird in this book? There isn't. This was in Midnight at the Blackbird Cafe when there were apparently, I thought the magic was in the pies, which it was, and in the blackbirds themselves, but apparently 2 of the cooks were like shapeshifters. So if you read that book, surprise,
Spoiler alert.
they're shapeshifters into
For magical
in a
realism,
bird.
friends.
And they were like, and apparently they show up at one point and one of them has like a feather in their hair or something. And they were like, you didn't clock the feather? And I was like, I just thought she was weird. I don't know. I just thought she liked to put feathers in her hair. Like, that's fine. She seemed kind of whimsical that way. You know? Like, I just
You didn't
read
think it was
books.
weird that the cat and the bird were like following her around all the time?
I thought it was very cozy and cute. I didn't think that they were like people. Anyway, it wasn't until the second time that I read that during the book club meeting. So not even while I read the book that I was let in on that particular portion of it. So I tend to just read and I'm just vibing. So like
That's okay. That's
I'm
okay
over
to
here.
do. I do that too sometimes.
I'm over here, like, my heart froze, whispers of a name echoed in the back of my mind, one I had heard in a dream, Fiandriel. And I'm over here, and I'm like, I wonder who that is. I guess we'll find out. And you know what? Y'all are going to be feeling pretty dang bad if it ends up being somebody else.
Sure.
Maybe it's
Sure.
Maybe
Might be a shortened Fiandriel.
Or
You know, you
maybe
can-
she's named Fia after, like, I don't know, her mom or something. Maybe
You know,
her mom
if-
made it,
if
and
that
she's
is
like
the
the
case,
queen.
Could be.
If
Or
that is the case,
something.
you are more than welcome to say, I told you so.
Well, I didn't tell you.
Yes.
It's not even I'm saying so. I just didn't pick up on it.
Bow down to you. If that is the case.
I'm just, I think I need to be a little bit more observant, probably. Yeah.
Reading it fast.
Well, it was
To
like,
be fair, you did finish today.
yeah, and
Right,
I
before
finished,
the
and when I finished, it was like 3:45, and I still had to shower, and I had to make frickin' scones.
Make haste.
I had to make haste.
Make haste.
So I was like, and then meanwhile, Noah's over here watching Paw Patrol, and he's like, Mommy, do you see? Are you seeing? Are you looking? And I'm like, no. Anywho, there it is.
So Fia / possibly Fiandriel.
We don't know. Maybe.
She wakes again, panicked, unsure how far she is from home. An orb appears in the room and she sends her tendrils out towards it to like attack it. But it like zaps back at her and sends those tendrils whipping back into her. And then it's followed quickly by a man coming into the room saying not to try those mind games on him and calls her princess. So calls her princess a lot. Like a lot.
I think she's a princess.
Yeah. He has black hair. He has tendrils up his arms that look like tattoos. 90% certain this is the guy from her dreams.
And he's snarky. He makes her feel things.
100% I'm clocking that this is, I'm going to call that this is the end game guy. This is it.
He's got the dark hair.
The guy.
Yes.
I don't know if we have a mate situation. I know you keep wondering if there's going to be a mate situation. If there is, this is the one.
I would agree. I would like some answers in the dreams. That's all I would like. I would like some answers on the dream.
So she asks why they took her, and he claims that they didn't take, like, because she's like, you kidnapped me. And he's like, we saved your ass. And says that they don't leave their own behind. And then is like, basically just crushing everything she's ever been told. Like, it's all lies, because he's saying that there aren't enough Umbra. So apparently that's like what these people are called, are Umbra. And there's none of them left. And she's definitely one of their kind. And he tells her that she's a shadow wielder, and that if they would have left her there, everyone would have killed her, which based on like Lyric's reaction and everyone's reactions, probably would have killed her.
Well, they killed off the Riftborne. I mean,
right.
Practically, you know.
Yeah, well, and he even mentions that because he's like, they're going to do to us what they did to Riftamar, which was destroy it and take it over.
He seems very horrified by her mark.
Yes. So he's like, they branded you, and is like pissed about it. Honestly, I got more out of that reaction than I got in the whole book from Lyric. I was like
the last 10%
girl jump him
was like, now this is what we're talking about.
I was over here like, all right, I'll read Duskbound.
I'm like, that's it. That's the one.
Like, it wasn't until she starts talking to him, I'm like, all right.
Alrighty then.
I am bound for Duskbound. That is where I'm headed, because now I want to know.
So again, like, he's telling her everything that she's learned, everything she knows. It's all wrong. Luminaria has been draining his world completely. Everyone's dying. The children are dying. They're like sucking all like the warmth out of the land. And again, he's like, they're gonna do to us what they did to Riftamar. And he's pissed about the brand on her hand. And as much as she hates and is afraid of him because she doesn't know him, she feels like they've kidnapped her and is the enemy, but she's also extremely immediately drawn to him. And even though it like feels like a betrayal to be drawn to him, because she's like feeling things she probably shouldn't be feeling in her mind. And she tries to attack his mind again and is like, I'm going to kill him this time. And it's like, it's nothing for him. He just deflects it easily and then walks
over here
out.
like, you were a big fish, but now you're like all the other fish.
She's like, gonna have to be faster than that. Again, the banter between them in like 3 paragraphs is better than any banter we got out of her and Lyric. Like, immediately it's so much better. So he walks out. She sees herself in a mirror then, kind of for the first time in a while. And she sees the circles around her eyes are darker than they've been. And and that her previously opal eyes have now got like those inky black swirls in them. And she realizes that wraiths, they've been told that wraiths can only use their abilities like near their homeland, which is why they haven't ventured super far into Luminaria, because that's why they've been like hovering on that border. And she realizes this is the first time she's left Luminaria. And so as she's gotten closer to that border, that's when she could finally use these powers she didn't realize she had, which is those shadows, and why she can wield these shadows. So she's starting to put the pieces together that, hey, this is like who I actually am. And she again remembers that dream and the name, Fiandriel. Fiandriel.
Yeah.
And that's where it ends. So, and then, like, it's prepping us for Duskbound. So thoughts, predictions?
Will?
I think she's a princess.
I think she's a princess. I think she's like an heir to the throne of Umbra or whatever this land is. And I think the dark-haired dude with the shadow, the shadow daddy, I think you got a shadow daddy and a shadow mommy. And I think they're going to get together and make shadow babies. Maybe not shadow babies, but they're going to have shadows together.
And I don't know if this is going to be like a true enemies to lovers. Like, I'm not sure. Is this going to be slow burn?
I feel like it might end up being more rivals
quickly?
to lovers. I don't think that it's going to be true enemies. I think that it's going to give, technically right now, they technically are enemies because they're on two different sides of the line. But
it's going to start to
She's going to shift quickly.
I don't think this is going to be something that she's going to fight.
But I don't think they'll get together right away because I think she's going to struggle with her feelings with Lyric and then the feelings with the new guy. And then it's going to shift.
Probably. I think they're going to.
It'll probably take if I had to predict, I would say probably 3/4 to like closer to, like similar to this. Like they're not going to get together till closer to the end of the book, especially since there's a book 3 as well. I think Lyric's going to betray her.
Yeah. He seemed pretty disgusted. Everything went down.
Horror.
I'm going to bet though, if I was the authors, I would bring him back in some way that makes him look like he's either trying to help her or whatever, but where he's like kind of like using, like seeing if he can use her, the connection to her to like either spy or like get information or whatever. And then he's going to end up betraying her in the long run. Like he's going to use her for a while. And I don't know if she's going to catch it. I don't know if she's going to get betrayed or if she's going to clock that he's going to betray them. Like if she's going to start to figure him out. I hope she starts to figure it out because I want Fia to be smart. Like I want her to start to like grow as a character and make some better choices, and kind of become more of like a strong badass and not just something that's being used by everybody. Because it's be super easy for her to go in this new land and end up getting used there too.
Yes.
Even if she's a princess. Like I could see them using her in some way. So I want to see her stop getting used and start leading and like being smart and like clever and like thinking for herself and making some decisions.
Well, this is funny. So if you start Duskbound, because I did download Duskbound, because that's like the only way you can get it right now. It does start with a previously on Riftborne or in Riftborne.
That's hilarious.
Gives you like a little.
That's nice.
Yeah, several page.
I like that.
This cannot be correct.
I mean,
there's no way this is.
You're learning pretty quickly. This is just like their little like, dedication page. And the dedication is for those who learned that darkness doesn't devour, it forges. So the dark people are the good people. The shadow wielders are the good guys.
Aether. That's our man. Aether. General. There's a lot of generals. There's a lot of houses. Oh, it's 558 pages.
Whoa. Ooh, pictures.
Check her out.
That's her. You see her spiky little ears?
I do. Yeah, you get pictures in this one too.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Is yours color?
No. It's like black and white. Like shades of gray.
Well, mine's going to be black and white on my Paperwhite Kindle. I did not spring for the color Kindle.
I have so many questions.
Okay, so
ratings? You guys give yours first.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to go first on this one. I don't know what to
all right, so I've been a solid 3.5 throughout the entire thing. So on Fable, it's a 3.5 because you can do that. On Goodreads, you can't do that. So Goodreads, looking at you. So this is where acknowledgments and about the authors becomes really important for me because when I'm in that limbo between a 3 and a 4, I don't always, just because it's a 5 in significant figures, I don't always round up because I don't truly believe it's a 4. So I look for something else, like design of the book, if I'm not reading the book, about the authors, the acknowledgments. I take everything into consideration. And I found out they're super cute, love the authors. I get good vibes from them. They play Dungeons and Dragons. And because of all these extra little tidbits, I'm like, you know what? Y'all are a 4. Is this their first book?
Riftborne, I think, was their first.
See,
I think it's their first. And so, I'll be honest, I have flipped through Duskbound and I feel like it improves.
And that's the thing. I'm like, you know what? This is their first. I have my gripes with it, which, you guys have heard everything that we've said. We've been like, what? When it's time to be like, what? And, I feel like the plot really didn't pick up till the last 25%. And even then, things were happening to where it was like, is Fia really this person? That kind of thing. But all of that taken into consideration, it's not terrible. I had a good time. I feel like we had good discussions. Even when you're like poking fun at some things like Italy and gondoliers, and it's
gonna make it stick with me a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to Planet Fitness. That's great.
It's now canon.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's been a 3.5 solid for me throughout. But if you're gonna force me to use whole numbers, then I'm gonna give them the extra credit, the extra boost, because I really like who the people are that wrote it, just based off of about the author and their acknowledgments and the little tidbits of, hey, we're best friends and we play Dungeons and Dragons. They're like nerdy, and I can really appreciate that. And I appreciate the time that they took to say, here's a little bit about us. So 4 is what it is on Goodreads. But 3.
So I was at a 3 until the second half of the book. And then it did bump it up to a 3.5 for me as well on the finish. So if I can do the half stars, I would say a 3.5. Originally, I probably would have stuck with just a 3 on Goodreads, but actually sometimes my difference between a 3 and a 4 is like, would I donate it? Would I donate the book? Like, I could still, like, a 3 is not a bad rating for me. It's just like, it was a good book. It was, but a lot of times my 3s I donate eventually because I'm not going to ever reread them, unless.
Right.
But their covers, whoever their cover designer was, these are gorgeous. Like, gorgeous. No notes. 10 out of 10. I'll give it a 4 just for the freak, because I am going to keep them.
You get extra credit.
I'm going to keep them and keep them on my shelf even. Yeah. And I do think, I agree with you. I think if this was their first book or their first published book together, I think they're just working out their kinks. The plot was good. The story was good. I had some holes and some questions, but it's a series, so some of those could get answered later. So, and it just depends. Some series, I have authors where that first book's just like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then by the end, you're like obsessed with the whole series. Wolf King was like, I liked Wolf King. I liked it a lot. But then I was like obsessed by the time Night Prince is done.
Yes.
And I'm like really looking forward to Furybound. I really enjoyed DireBound. And if those authors continue on that track, that's going to be an entire personality for me for like a hot minute when Furybound comes out.
And I feel like two authors trying to write the same story, that would be really challenging anyway, Yeah. Like trying to get on the same page. But yeah.
So for Goodreads it'll be a 4 on there. It was a good time. I am looking forward to Duskbound, and I am looking forward to having some shadow daddies and shadow mommies.
Maybe shadow babies.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really want a shadow baby. Just
please not the baby.
Mainly because we're in the middle of, I feel like it's a 3-book series. Like, we're going to be leading up to a war. She's just going to be discovering who she is in this world and all these shifts and changes in book 2. And then I feel like we're going to be gearing up for a war in book 3. Would be my guess.
Maybe
so we don't have time for shadow babies. We can have some shadow
babies later. Shadow babies later.
We can have some shadow spice. That's about it.
And the same. I had a 3.5 all the way up. Honestly, for me, Eve, it wasn't even the back half. It was this last quarter. It was a 3.5, and then we got to there, and now I've upped it to a 4. And I feel like it was one of those things where I didn't, throughout my time in the book, I felt like I was reading it, but it wasn't like I just had to keep going. Like, I had no problem setting it aside. I had questions, which I still feel were valid questions. But by the last quarter, I was like, okay, I'm in. And you started seeing where things were going. You started seeing, some different kind of progressions, and the story started to pick up. And now I am excited to go into Duskbound.
I will say, I appreciate how mid Lyric was. You have 0 risk.
I'm excited for a new guy.
Well, I feel like you had, some people got Tamlin tattoos, okay? I feel like you don't have a strong risk for these girls running out getting Lyric tattoos.
No. Yeah.
I feel that.
Straight up Jump Street. I was like, this is not.
I straight
He's not the one.
I really felt like the last quarter, it just really you started to see kind of like where we were heading, and I started looking forward to it.
Last set of chapters that we did, I couldn't put it down. I like stayed up really late.
Yeah.
Reading it because I wanted to know what was I wanted to get to the end.
I feel like this point, when you get to that point in a book, you're just invested. You know what I mean? Now, I have to know. Even though I may not be enjoying it, I gotta know.
Yeah. I mean, I've enjoyed the book all the way through. I mean, because like you guys said, 3s aren't bad. And and I was at a 3.5. And so I was still enjoying it. When I was reading it, I was liking it. It was just when I put it down, I was fine to put it down.
It's easy to put down.
It was...
I can stop here.
Yeah, and I did feel like there were some things that I was like, I don't really understand what's happening, but I'm just going to vibe with it. And you kind of had to just kind of... Also, after reading the acknowledgments, I do feel like they are elven people, not fae. Because she does mention that in the acknowledgments. Sorry. A lot of people have pointy ears, apparently. I'm like, or maybe they're humans that just have weird
They have pointy ears.
So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how Duskbound goes and seeing if, the third one is going to be good. And by association, I'm excited to read The Ascendant. So I'm going to keep going.
So our listeners have voted, and it appears it was a fairly close call for a while, but we got a pull-out leader of The Poison Daughter.
The Poison Daughter.
So it looks like our next read is going to be The Poison Daughter, which I am super excited for. It's getting a lot of traction on social media. Not the synopsis, but the little blurb for it sounds fantastic. Like, it's such a cool premise. Like, she's like poisonous. She's the female main character is like almost like venomous and like poisons anybody who touches her except for like this one guy. And then she's like forced to marry him, right?
Yes. I'm looking at the chapters to see how many chapters we have.
Yeah, do that.
I want to say it's, according to here, 66.
16 or 17. What do you want to do?
17.
16.5. So we'll go with 17.
17. So chapters 1 through 17, we'll be reading and covering that of The Poison Daughter next week. I should have a physical copy before that. Say, folks, I don't have a physical copy to hold up and be like, this is what we're reading next week.
Hold on. I do have it downloaded.
To be fair, I'm downloading it now.
The Poison Daughter by Sheila Masterson.
It's fine. Just stay tuned. We will be posting the episode guides onto our Instagram and our Facebook. If you don't follow us on Facebook, we are on Facebook as well. That's it. It's a real pretty cover too.
It's purple. Not on there. Poison Daughter.
The Poison Daughter is a standalone.
Yes, I'm excited for that. So, because I have so many series going.
Right?
Now. So many.
Me too. I wonder whose fault it is. Mary.
This became my fault.
I love that, Mary.
But now I'm excited to share. I'm reading a book called Mary.
She's reading
It's a whore.
Mary.
It's Mary, The Awakening of Terror.
That's my entire life.
Everybody
and
look
it's
it up.
about this woman who's going through perimenopause.
Shut up.
But she's turning 50, right?
That's different. That's different.
That's different.
She's going through perimenopause. She's going through all these changes. Night sweats, having weird, she can't sleep. She's got insomnia. She's having hallucinations.
Didn't have those. Had some weird ass dreams, but not hallucinations.
And it's a horror book. So
honestly, that tracks. A perimenopause.
Mary's over here like, sometimes life is a nightmare.
0 stars. Don't recommend it. It's the worst.
well, the things, she has other things, like, I don't want to spoil it for people, but there are other things that are more sinister and dark that she's experiencing. But she's telling the doctor some of her symptoms, and he's just like, oh, textbook perimenopause. You'll get over it.
She's over here like, the horror isn't the perimenopause.
The whore is the treatment of women by healthcare. That's the real whore, folks.
The horror is big pharma, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I will say that I am 63% of the way through the book. It is very misogynistic. It's going places I can't imagine. I don't know how I feel about it right now. So I'll let you know at the end, because I have been going up and down in my rating scale because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm reading.
Oh, The Poisoned Daughter.
We will see.
There's 1 through 17 in The Poisoned Daughter.
We will see everybody next week as we dive into it and discuss it. I'm excited. We will see everybody then. Bye.